Hi, I'm Jason Sterling, and this is the Eternal Imperium theme park that I'm working on today. My last video, we were working on a steampunk hotel. That hotel is to pair with this theme park for one of its worlds, one of its sections that you can visit while you're there. You can see in front of you there is 3 areas marked out. So you have a main center section, kind of a street section that you come into the theme park on. As you're looking at the pictures, you're looking at the screen, to the right side there will be Adventureland. To the left side will be a sort of Tomorrowland, which will be steampunk. In the back will be Wonderland. It's going to be based on Alice in Wonderland. In the center point of this particular theme park is a conservatory. Now, as you can see, I've already started some work on this ahead of time. This is the first video I'm doing, but I did do some work mapping out what this theme park was going to look like, just to kind of make sure I'd have enough room for what I wanted to do. Originally, I had this idea, well, maybe I should just do a steampunk theme park, right? Or a Wonderland theme park. But I think with a 64 by 64 lot, we will have enough room to have these 3 separate sections. I originally had this idea of going through every single pack and pulling out stuff I want to use for this build. I started to get that, what you see on the screen, and there's more than you can see on this picture here, I think. You'll see maybe a little bit in the video. I dropped down and you can see like Adventureland, like the buildings there are full of stuff. And that's just base game and get to work and get together. So really quick, I was like, okay, I'm gonna end up with like basically everything in this game, tried to cram here on this lot. It's not gonna be any room to work, so I stopped doing that. But that's what that sort of clutter of stuff is about, which is fine. It can be there for now. We'll probably use all those things and more. To start this particular build session, I decided to start with 3 previous builds I did a long time ago. So back in the old days, there was, and there probably still is, a lot of build competitions on the Sims forum. I don't use the Sims forum any longer. I don't really care for it. I think it's kind of a little kind of authoritarian over there, but I pulled these 3 builds. 2 of them in particular really do fit this theme. One was based on steampunk. I don't remember what the challenge was, but I did a steampunk airship waiting room. So like a waiting room you'd find at an airport, but in a steampunk style, because you're going to catch an airship, right? I'm going to use that as a transition point between the steampunk area and the Wonderland area. I also had a build. These are all rooms. These are all challenges that were rooms. That's why I'm able to place them. I also had one that was called Contemplation Square. I'm going to put that as the transition point from Adventureland into Wonderland. Adventureland leans heavily into Asian sort of influenced assets in the game. Since Snowy Escape gives us a lot of those sort of assets, it kind of leaned into Asia as an inspiration. Probably more into Japan as an inspiration, although I don't really feel like it's an exact sort of rendering of Japan. It does give us a lot of assets to explore that sort of culture and idea. And then lastly, I'm going to use something I called the Last Tea. This was an Alice in Wonderland challenge. So I did one that was the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, but set up so that when I took pictures of it, it would look like the Last Supper with different characters kind of arranged around the table, and I called it the Last Tea. We're going to put that back in Wonderland as sort of a focal point for that entire district. Now, I do jump into building almost immediately in Adventureland, which I didn't entirely intend to do when I first started placing these rooms. But I had this sort of idea as I was placing Contemplation Square there of what might be at the end of your adventure in Adventureland. If you were coming from, Adventureland, kind of the area I think of as the start. This is kind of the end of that. I guess if you were coming in reverse, it would be the start, and then you're going to go through your adventure in the opposite direction, right? But I started working on this sort of, again, it's a pagoda. It's an Asian-inspired pagoda. Not any sort of real-life comparison. It's going to have a lot of fantastical elements to it that would not be present in real life, obviously. It's going to be done in my style and my way. So we're going to do this pagoda. I really thought at the start I was just going to do a quick little kind of mock-up, right? I was just going to do a few little things here just to give the impression of what it's going to be like. How much space will it take? How much space do I have left over? Can I do it? I ended up doing pretty much the entire exterior. Again, I'll probably add some stuff. I need to add some windows or stuff to the upper levels. But by and large, I did end up pretty much finishing it. The interior, I really don't know what I'm going to do with the interior. I need to kind of figure that out. I'll probably do the altar from the For Rent pack. I'll probably do that on the top floor, I think. Well, maybe. Top floor is pretty small. If it won't fit, I might put it on the bottom floor and then make the top floor just a lookout point, just kind of an observation point. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Beyond that, I'm not real sure what I'm going to put here or really anywhere else. I need to go through all of the activities in the game. That's really what I need to focus on if I'm going to go from pack to pack to pack. I need to go through the activities and say, okay, this activity would work for Adventureland. This activity will work for Wonderland. This activity will work for the steampunk area. I mean, obviously, we'll put things like tea sets in all three areas, right? Because it's the Victorian idea of a theme park. So I didn't really mention that at the start. This is what I think if the Victorians had decided to do Disney World, right, back in circa 1890, this might be what they would have come up with. That's why, from their point of view, this is what their Adventureland might look like. From their point of view, this is what Wonderland might look like. And naturally, their idea of Tomorrowland would be this steampunk version. So this is kind of the idea of a theme park that the Victorians might have created. That's why it's called the Eternal Imperium instead of the Magic Kingdom, right? Instead of the Magic Kingdom, it's the Eternal Imperium, which I think circa 1890, most people in Britain might have told you, yes, the British Empire will last forever. It will, just like people in America right now will tell you the American Empire will last forever. Some will. Fewer and fewer every day, I think, here in America. But anyway, that's kind of the idea behind the name and behind this sort of concept. Adventureland, I go ahead and throw in what is just a mock-up of a dock area. So we're going to have a dock here at the start of Adventureland that's going to be connected to a river. A river will actually connect all three sections. So you can use a kayak. It's not big enough for the sailboat from Sulani, but you can use a kayak. If you're a guest right here at the theme park, you can rent a kayak. Well, you don't have to rent it, but you get the idea. If you were at a real theme park, you could rent a kayak and you could sail from one part of the park to the other. You could paddle along, kind of see all these different areas. So Adventureland's water system is going to be much wilder. There's going to be a lot of different sort of branches. Well, as many as I can fit in the space, but different branches. There'll be a lot of vegetation, a lot of, just odd place rocks. Probably throw some fish in there, some insects, dragonflies, stuff like that. Right. As you get over to the steampunk area, it is much the opposite. It is completely regimented. It is all canals. It is all man-made. So they've taken a river system maybe that originally went through the city, and they have turned it into squared off rectangular sections, right, that are needed for transportation and for industry on an efficient level. So that's what happens by the time you get through this system to the steampunk area. So if you start in Adventureland, you get to that regimentation at the end. If you start in the steampunk area, you get to the sort of wild, chaotic side at the end. In the middle is Wonderland. That is going to be natural, of course, but natural in a very sort of Victorian formal garden sort of way. So you're going to have this idea of constrained nature and nature that has been guided into certain pleasing shapes and forms, so that by the time the river gets here to Wonderland, it's the sort of place where you can boat in a very leisurely manner, or you can stroll along the edge of this water source. There's nothing dangerous here, right? All of the plants are well tended, and they have been pruned back so that they don't get in your way. And none of the animals are dangerous. They're just there to be beautiful, like butterflies and stuff like that. They're just there to excite you and bring a pleasing experience, not an adventurous experience, not an exhilarating experience, but very pleasing, relaxing sort of experience to the idea. So that will be the center part of this river system. Now, naturally, in the steampunk area, there's no animals there. Maybe I'll throw a rat. I'll drop a rat in there somewhere, something like that. You're not gonna, by the time you hit the steampunk area, there are no animals in that river. It's too polluted, right? There's no fishing in the steampunk area, and there's not even like dragonflies or anything like that. No plants along that area unless they're in a pot, like some sort of pot. I might do a small park area in the steampunk area. Don't get me wrong, there'll be some nature there, but it'll be very much, it'll be obvious that it is man-made nature. I feel like in the Wonderland area, it's supposed to look like, I mean, it's nature tamed by man, but it's supposed to still look like nature natural. So the difference would be like, Adventureland is a feral dog. And by the time you get to steampunk land, it's a robotic dog. And in the middle, in Wonderland, it is a dog that has been highly trained by humans to do exactly what humans want it to do. But it's obviously still a dog, right? I mean, it's still a dog, still looks like a dog, acts like a dog. That's the difference between these areas. When you get to steampunk land, it looks kind of like a dog, but it's obviously a robot. It's obviously mechanical. The bad part, of course, about running a water source through this entire area is you have to have some way to cross it. And it wouldn't look natural for my Sims just to change into a swimsuit, swim across it to get to the other side, although I'm sure some of them will. But the great thing is, with the new Adventure Awaits pack, the children's playground stuff can be used as a bridge. And you'll see here with what I'm doing, it actually looks a little bit like a bridge, just a standard sort of bridge you might find in a park, climb up, cross, climb down. Pretty natural, pretty average, pretty everyday. So that's one great thing about that pack. I don't know if it's been highlighted a lot. I did highlight it in my video with my large resort, that I built a bridge for people to cross the pool using this kit, or using this mechanism, these items from Adventure Awaits. I'm going to use it again here. And I think it should be possible. I'm going to go through and maybe dress it up in a little bit Victorian fashion. So we might put some plants from it. We might do a little more decor on it. It would be possible to outline it in standard, walls, then put some molding around the walls, maybe put some arches into the walls, stuff like that, to give this particular structure a little more of a carved, ornamented appearance. Right now it's pretty simple. It does work, especially in white. It just looks like a bridge you would find over a waterway. After that, I go into working on the conservatory, which is the center hub for this park. Instead of a castle or something like that, we have the conservatory as the central hub of this park. I had windows, exterior cladding. I adjust a little bit some of the exterior area because I'm going to make a little bit larger, maybe of a lawn or a garden in front of this botanical garden, or kind of to the side of the front of this botanical garden. We don't have a huge amount of space here, of course. I do go to work on the interior. I'm not going to do the entire interior, although I do get a lot of it done. I go to work on the interior, and you can kind of see where I'm going with what this will look like. There'll be some planting areas, right? It looks like a botanical garden, right? I mean, it's what it's supposed to look like. Just a standard sort of botanical garden. Little bit of a Victorian feel to it, hopefully. Now, the point of this hub is it is the third leg of access to the different lands behind the entrance street. So there's no direct way to walk from the entrance street to these lands. There's going to be 3 separate areas. Conservatory is one of them, the middle one. There will be portals. We'll use the portals from Realm of Magic. In the case of the conservatory, the portal will be disguised in a mirror because, again, we're basing Wonderland on Alice in Wonderland. So we're going to disguise a portal in a mirror in a sort of refreshment area of the conservatory. So as part of the decor. So when you go in there, there'll be that mirror. Your Sims will just automatically use that to go to Wonderland. So what they'll do with these portals is they use them if they are the quickest way to get there. So if you are at the conservatory and you click in Wonderland and you tell your Sim go here, they'll automatically go and use that portal to get there. The same thing will be true with portals for Adventureland and Tomorrowland or Steampunk Land. As you're entering, on the map, to the right side there's a group of buildings. Somewhere within the building, a portal will be hidden. And your Sims will go to that portal. If you click on the dock, say, in Adventureland and say go here, they'll go through that portal to get there. Same thing with the Steampunk world. There will be a portal on the other side of the street in a building that'll take you there. Now, once you're back there, you can walk between all 3 lands and obviously take a water source. You can take kayaks to get from land to land to land. Or if it's quicker, depending on where you are and stuff like that, I mean, you could just click on the street and tell your Sim to go there, and your Sim would leave from Steampunk World, use the portal, go out to the street. And then you could click, go to Adventureland, click somewhere in Adventureland, it should use the portal to get there. That would be faster maybe than kayaking or walking all the way around through Wonderland, right? It's like you would be cutting across Main Street there to get to where you want to go. So that definitely would be an option. Aside from just being a focal point, this conservatory, it also serves a purpose. Hope you've liked this initial look at building for this theme park. Please hit like, subscribe, and notify. There will be more videos coming for this theme park and or live streams, one or the other. I've missed live streaming the last 2 weeks. I've been extremely busy in my real life. I've been very busy at work, and I've had a lot of things I need to take care of around my home. So that has really cut into it. Plus, I was ill. Last weekend, I did intend to stream, and I was sick. I got, here in Oklahoma, this time of year, everyone has allergies, including all my clients. And so when I'm leaning over them washing their hair, working a hair salon, a hairstylist, when I'm leaning over them washing their hair and they're coughing right up into my face because of allergies, coincidentally, I catch allergies, the following weekend. You might even be able to hear it a little bit in my voice, still today. But I feel much, much better. So this weekend, I hope I will be able to do some live streaming. We'll do some building on this. We're going to finish the hotel. We're going to finish this theme park. Going to take my family to both the hotel and the theme park to have a vacation. Now, my idea, of course, with the hotel, I'm using Lot 51's Suite Life mod. That's SUITE, Suite Life. Get it? Like a hotel suite. Using that works really well so far. I did a brief test of it, and it worked really well for a hotel, which is what I really wanted out of Adventure Awaits. And Adventure Awaits works pretty good, and it's really great for creating custom venues. It is, and I might use that for custom venuing this theme park, right? Definitely. But we'll see. But this hotel mod, Suite Life, works great for hotels. Now, that's a steampunk hotel. My thought is to have a hotel for each of these corresponding sections. There are some people I've been talking to a little bit that I think might be interested in doing a hotel. If they do a hotel that fits with one of these themes, or that I can adjust slightly to fit one of these themes, I definitely will include that. So we'll tour those and take a look at them. Even if it doesn't fit the theme, I might place it and we'll tour and take a look at it. One of them I know showed a picture of it, and it definitely is a Victorian style hotel. And we'll tour them, and at last, this great vacation destination of Gibby Point will have a second focus, not just the national park area, but also now a theme park in the town. I guess we're calling it a town, the village, a theme park in the village where you can go and spend a week. Oh, please hit like, subscribe, and notify so that you won't miss any of that. And until next time, as always, thanks for watching.